At one point, I was 15,000 euros in debt. Okay, so I know how it feels. I know what it does to you mentally. You feel like you've fricked it up for yourself. You feel like you let down not only yourself but your family, your friends, like the people who depend on you, the people who have seen you in such a good light, and you were just trying to build something for everyone. You were trying to build something, leave a legacy, and actually build up your wealth. But honestly, at the end of the day, trading is not for everyone. Gambling, especially gambling, when you're gambling, you shouldn't even be doing it. And I was so you're not alone. Okay, I'm not trying to make this video to like spit on someone, bash someone. I'm literally making this telling you I was in a similar situation, and if I could make it out, you can too. Okay, so let's break it down. Yeah, $6,000. Like over the years, I in my trading addiction videos I already talked about how much money I lost over the years. But at one point 2 years ago, I was in the dump. I was in a dumpster. Okay, I had 6,000 euros on my credit card, and it was just 6,000 because my credit limit was at that. And you know how dumb that is? Like, I'm gonna expose myself. That was so dumb because, first of all, I always thought because of other financial YouTubers that having a good credit score is necessary. Therefore, it's necessary to have a credit card. But honestly, the credit system is not the same in Europe, especially in Germany, as it is in the US. So I didn't need to have a credit card. I had no business having a credit card. And also because I would always pay it back diligently, they would always up my credit limit. So in the month, I would spend money, like let's say $100, for food or whatever, just because it's quick. And I would pay it back diligently. And therefore, they would always up my credit limit. And I felt like, oh yeah, I'm really good with my money. That's why they're upping my credit limit. No! They're making it on purpose. They want to give you more money so you can spend more, and at one point you won't be able to pay them back because they're making money from the money the APR. How do you call it since in English? Well, let me Google it. The interest, yeah, the interest rate. What the heck? So basically, they want you to have a higher credit limit because it will make you spend over your typical budget. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I'm not a shopaholic. I don't buy a lot of clothes, a lot of food, or whatever. Like the most of my money would go into food if it would go somewhere, but it would still be below my means. So most of my money was trading. So 6,000 euros, that came from trading. Okay, in the past, my trading addiction in the past that I already talked about and on this channel. The other 9,000 euros I had paid off 1,000 already came from a course. Because guys, there are a lot of people on YouTube selling you courses that are like a $10,000 course for 3 months, and it was a course to teach me how to make a course. And I thought it would be something life changing. I hate putting out stuff that doesn't bring value. So I thought they would help me. They would help me nail down what value I can bring, what is something people would really want, and how if I can deliver it, and also help me like with the whole strategy. That wasn't it. It wasn't that. And I was also going through a breakup. But the course, to be honest, I also bought a similar product from another YouTuber who just made like a Google Sheet, and it summarized the $10,000 course in a $40, 40 euro digital product. So I was like, it's really hard out here, the sharks be sharking. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't invest in a course, because I still really love the idea of having a course one day, but you should pay attention, especially because life be lifing. And I thought I would be able to bring it back, but life hit me different ways. I had my first breakup from my first relationship, a person I thought I was gonna marry, everything. I was down, like I was so bad, I was so horrible, but I'm really grateful because they were so nice that they actually let me off. And guys, this is a mixture of God but also asking. So if there's some things you owe money on, contact the people and explain your situation, and maybe you will be lucky. I still paid 1K, and to be honest, like I was in such a state because I had bi-weekly calls with the coach, and he knew I was not able to do anything. Like I was going through heartbreak. It was debilitating. Okay, so he knew that I couldn't do anything. I was not I wasn't at capacity. I wasn't just joking. I actually was not able to do anything. Okay, so this is where the debt was coming from. 6,000 from the credit card, 9,000 from this course. Okay, the course, I was lucky. After a few months, I really begged, I prayed, I fasted, and ooh, They ended up sending me a message telling me, yes, I'm blocked from the course, obviously, which I understand, but that I do not have to pay the remainder, which I'm really, really grateful for, because I wouldn't have been able, I didn't have a job at the time. I didn't have a lot of workshops. I was feeling so horrible. I couldn't even actively work. Like, I was just bad. I was horrible, guys. So now let's get to the trading, step. To be honest, it doesn't even fully matter how I was able to bring the money back. I traded it back. I'm not gonna lie. I traded it back, to be honest. But the main thing that I can tell you is, because we all find ourselves in situations like that, if you have debt, you need to get a job. You need to get a job, you need to live below your means, and you need to pay it off as quickly as you can. You have to live like a dog, because to be honest, I was really lucky in the way I was able to pay off my debts. But then I had to rebuild, because now they wanted tax money, they wanted whatever, and I did not have any money. So what I did from there on is I created a Google Sheet, and I watched a YouTube video, and this guy just broke down the sheet, and I just created it myself and adhered it. Like, I focused it on me. Yeah. Wait, let me show you. Okay. So right now you cannot see a lot, because I would always oh wait, oh no. Because I made the sheets shareable. So here it is, budget tracker. Okay. So most thing you can't see because I already closed it down, but I had the sheet that I made, and I had different types of expenses or incomes that would come in, and I started simply tracking, and then I would also break it down if it's income for future me, fundamental needs, grocery shopping, fundamental needs, insurance money, fundamental needs. Then afterwards, obviously, future me is like investing in buying a book or whatever, and also income money coming in, and fun money is like activities with friends and stuff. And I would just start tracking where my money was going. So in the next tab, you can literally see the breakdown month by month of my revenue, expenses, and the net income. I did it for like 3-4 months, and then I stopped, because for me, tracking this was mostly to understand where my money is going. Like, where am I putting my money? Where is it going? Have an overview. And here also you could change what type of expense or income it is, and just see how much money each month went into what. So yeah, this was so helpful, because I now had an understanding where's my money actually going. And I also understood that although yes, I was still, if it didn't come to trading, I was living below my means, but I was still overspending on unnecessary things when it came to food and whatever. So tracking your spending habits for a month or a few weeks is so helpful. But like, spend normally, obviously, because you want to know what the problem is, and then you can dial it down. So what I did after that was deciding, okay, now I have to live like a dog. So obviously no buying clothes for myself, no eating out, no doing fun activities with friends. I was like, guys, this is for my future. I need security. I don't want to find myself in a situation like that ever again. I'm at 0 right now. I need to build up. So what I did was determine that each month, okay, what are my fixed costs, first of all? So insurance money, money for my ticket, money for whatever. I put it all together, and it came to about 160 euros or something, because I live at home, so I was really lucky. And then it was like, okay, how much money would I need to eat out? I did not have a job yet, okay? So the eating part, I think that actually came once I got a job, and I would still keep it minimal, because at first I didn't have a job, but I still had the fixed money that had to go out. But once I had a job, I was like, okay, now it's time to save. It's hard to save when you don't have income. Now I have income, time to save. So I would say, okay, I'm earning, let's say, 1,300 euros per month from my working student job. I'm gonna spend 300 euros every month on food for myself. So 10 euros a day, and 160 euros is fixed expenses. So there's no room for anything else. Obviously, yes, there was room for everything else, because at the end of the day, we are then at like 460 euros, let's say 500, because I love to just round it up. always round it up, guys. This is the best advice I can give you, because you will overspend sometimes. There's always random things that come up that you did not account for. So round it up. I said, okay, 500 euros per month is what I need to spend, and everything else. So basically, there's a difference of 800 euros per month that I was able to put into my savings accounts, And obviously, it became easier when I stopped trading. Oh, the Red Bull. I need to stop drinking this. But it became so much easier when I stopped trading, okay? At the end of the day, we have to think of it like this. There are things in our lives that cost us. They cost us time, they cost us energy, they cost us our mental, and they cost a lot of money, okay? So I was not at a state, once I got to the point where I finally admitted to myself that I had a trading addiction, that I was not going to make money from it, not because I cannot trade, but because it switches off in my brain and I just overindulge. I cannot stop, okay? I had so many people telling me, oh, but I can send you signals. And I'm like, no. You wouldn't tell a person, an alcoholic person, to get one drink and you will just watch them. You wouldn't. So the same goes for, I discovered for myself, I did the introspection and discovered that I should not be trading. I am gambling. Okay? So I finally had the force to stop it and let me stop. And that's when everything changed. But right now, I'm still finding myself in a place where I'm a bit stressed. I was able to save a lot of money at this point, where I feel kind of secure. But to be honest, life is expensive. Life is expensive, especially if you're someone who helps at home. Life is expensive, so it is stressful, and the car and everything. Right now it's all about planning, and I did have a car accident, which was done because I never had one before, and it was while parking. So someone just placed themselves behind me while I was driving backwards to park to the front, and he just placed his car right behind me while I was in the maneuver. And these are things that will happen. These are things that are stressful. These are things that happen, and that's why you have to have an emergency fund. Thankfully, I have insurance, but insurance also needs to get paid, the car insurance. So the car note is going to come up soon, but I'm ready for it. It's stressful. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it, because it feels like I saved so much money and I was all going away again. But that's how it is. At least I do have the money. That's different. Like, at least you're at a point where you can actually pay out the things better than where you were when you were at a point where you had to pay for things, but you didn't have the money. That's way worse. So don't be too hard on yourself. The main lessons you have to keep in your mind is get a job, at best even a side hustle, because sometimes the income you can make from a job is mostly capped, to be honest. So for me, it's the workshops, the seminars that I give are one of my main incomes, to be honest, depending on the time of year. Depending on the time of year, I earn with it much more money than from a job, to be honest. And so get a job, get a side hustle if you can, if your job doesn't pay enough, or get a job that pays good enough. Live below your means. Live like a dog and pay off your debt, and then start saving for an emergency fund. And afterwards, you can focus on your passions. You can focus on all the fun things, but don't touch your emergency fund. Your emergency fund is for emergencies, and always rebuild it. Like for me, there's a minimum that I always want to see in my emergency fund. And yes, maybe it's going to get depleted at one point. But for me, at this point in my life, I'm like, if my emergency fund is below 10,000 euros, no bueno. Like, I want to see 10,000. Like, right now, I'm almost there because I'm still waiting for some payments. And after that, I'm like, we can pay for things, but I always have to get back to this number. At best, I need to get above it, so that when something happens, I can spend it and land on at least 10K. I feel like if you have 10K saved, you should be kind of good. But the best thing you could do is obviously have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved up. I would say 6 to 12 even. People say 3 to 6, but I could live from this money for like a year, to be honest. I still don't feel safe. Things can happen all the time. So have as much money as you can saved, put on the side. I hope this video was valuable to you. Have a good day, a good night, a good whatever. Bisous, à plus. Ciao, ciao.